Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar at the Abilene Christian University Online Writing Center for Citing Film and Video Content. My name is Christy Apostle, and I will be leading the webinar today. We have two learning objectives for this webinar. First, we will critically analyze and discuss the film Parenthood, and then we will workshop citing a film and video for CONR 628 Week 2, Assignment 2, the Parenthood Film Analysis. Learning objective number 1, critically analyze and discuss parenthood. So why should we do a film analysis? Films impact viewers and reflect the human experience. As Sandy and Rabe explain, they may include examples of confession, forgiveness, confrontation, listening, negotiation, denial, and seeking outside help. We can learn about family structures, life cycle stages, and conflict among family members and non-family members through film analysis. So in order to think about analyzing the film Parenthood, let's look at an example. In this case, we're going to use the movie The Incredibles. So why and how should film analysis be conducted? Critically analyzing and discussing a film can help us understand various family structures and how to identify emerging conflict in families, as well as how to overcome it. So, as I said, we're going to use The Incredibles. And let's think about two questions in order to start this analysis. How do family dynamics among family members with different superhero powers lead to conflict? How do the characters overcome the conflicts that emerge? So let's look at a portion of the film in order to provide an example of how you're going to analyze parenthood. So in this portion, we have Violet and Dash, and they get into a conflict at dinner. As Helen, Jack, Dash, and Violet sit together at dinner, Dash begins to tease Violet about a boy at school that she seemingly likes. The conflict becomes physical as Dash races around the table to get away from Violet, who stops him with the force field. Soon, Helen, the mom, uses her flexible stretching power to hold both children as they try to fight under the table. Although Helen calls her husband, Bob, to come help, the conflict heightens until the family hears a knock at the door. In sudden agreement, they sit down at the table in one accord, appearing as a traditional family to avoid revealing their powers to the person who knocked. So in this case, they're kind of forced to overcome the conflict. And here we have Jack sitting down, having his dinner, and appearing as a member in a traditional family. So you will use those same approaches that I have used in the example to analyze parenthood. Learning objective 2, cite film and video for CONR 628 Week 2, Assignment 2, the Parenthood Film Analysis. So here we have the link to the assignment. Just for ease of access, you can find it here if you're already deep into this webinar. And now let's review the assignment itself. Critically analyze and discuss the Parenthood motion picture, responding to the following prompts. So first, identify the traditional and or non-traditional family structures in this film. So this implies that there are both in the film. So you'll be, as you watch it, make sure you're looking for traditional and non-traditional family structures. Next, identify the family life cycle stage in each family structure in the film. Then identify the emergence of conflict in any of the life cycle stages in the film. So with this bullet in particular, you have a choice. So you can choose any of the life cycle stages that you see in the film. Maybe one interests you, maybe one strikes you as more dynamic, it has more energy than another. So you're going to choose choose any of the life cycle stages and identify the emerging aspect of conflict. So when does the conflict begin? What makes it emerge? And then finally conclude with your opinion on whether and how conflict between family members may differ from conflict with non-family members. So this last requirement does not have to be based on what you observed in the film, as shown in the assignment here in this parentheses. It can be, but it does not have to be. So just ensure that you provide your opinion in your conclusion on whether and how conflict between family members may differ from conflict with non-family members. All right, here we have the assignment rubric, and it's helpful to go over because often the assignment rubric will include content that is not on the assignment itself. So you see in these first 4 rows that you need to identify the traditional, non-traditional family structures in the movie. You'll need to identify the family life cycle stages in each family structure that you identify, okay? You'll need to identify and discuss the emergence of conflict in any of those life cycle stages. So what basically you're looking at for number 1, the first row and the second row, is that you're looking at the same family structures. And then with the third row, you're going back to the second row and choosing life cycle stages that you discussed to fulfill that second row in the rubric. Okay, next, identify and discuss how, if at all, conflict between family members differed from conflict with non-family members. So this last one is important to note, this last row in the rubric, because it kind of gives you some general paper guidelines. So you'll need 1,500 words. When you count your word amount, do not count the headings or your references page. You'll use APA style, and any of us at the Online Writing Center will be happy to help you with that if needed. APA style includes in-text citations and a references page, and we'll go over those in a minute. And importantly, for this paper, which is listed on the assignment, you should not include direct quotes. And again, that'll be something that I'll discuss a little later in more detail. So let's start with talking about how you'll cite paraphrases in this paper through your in-text citations. So we're returning to our example of The Incredibles. In desperate need of Bob's help, Helen calls to him from the dining room while he reads the newspaper in his office, rather than sitting with the family at the table. When Bob arrives in the dining room, he attempts to reconcile the conflict by picking up the table and all of the food on it, along with Helen, Dash, and Violet. And so in parentheses, we see Bird 2005. In this case, Brad Bird is the director of this film. And so we cite the director in the in-text citation, and then the copyright date of the film, which was 2005. And that's what this bullet at the end of the page basically explains. When paraphrasing from an audio-visual work, such as film or video, include an in-text citation with the director's name and the year associated with the film's copyright date. So again, in the case of this assignment, you're not going to be using direct quotes. However, and you see this in the highlighted portion on this slide, I wanted to share with you examples of how to cite direct quotes, just so that you have that for future reference. So in this case, in the same example from the film, Helen states, "Bob, it's time to engage. Don't just stand there. I need you to intervene." So if you're citing a direct quote from an audio-visual work, you're going to again include the director, Bird, the surname of the director, in the author spot, followed by a comma, then followed by the the year, the copyright date in this case. We would also say publication year, a comma, and then a timestamp. A timestamp just shows where in the film or video the quote occurs. In this case, at 28 minutes and 14 seconds into the film. So then Bob responds to Helen in this scenario. And Bob says, "You want me to intervene? Okay, I'm intervening." And again, this in-text citation includes the director, a comma, the copyright date, a comma, and another timestamp of 28 minutes and 23 seconds. This is explained here in this bullet. When quoting directly from an audio-visual work, such as film or video, include a timestamp for the beginning of the quotation where you would normally include a page number for a textual word. So this means for Helen's quote, 28:14 is the timestamp at which she says, "Bob." And for Bob's quote, 28:23 is the timestamp at which he begins by saying, "You." So let's also look at how to cite a film or video in your references, your reference list entry on the references page. This example here is following the 7th edition of APA. And you'll begin with the same surname that was in the in-text citations. And that way your readers can easily locate this entry in your references page when they see the in-text citation with Bird inside it. In APA, the format of the reference list entry will include the same elements no matter how you access it. For film, you'll need an author, which will be a director, as I mentioned, but you could also include a director and producer. You also need the date of publication. That will come after the author. Next, include the title of the film. You see it here in italics. And then after the title, in the title element, you'll include film in brackets. Then after this element, you'll need the publisher or the production company in this case. If you happen to watch the film online, you also need a URL at the end. If you include a URL, though, depending on how you watch the film, you will not need a period after it. So let's break this down. In APA, the director serves as the author. So if you're citing a book, a journal article, you're going to start with the author. And you will not include a word like author in parentheses. So this is specific to a film or video. When citing a film or video, include the director in the author spot, followed by director in parentheses. So let's talk about the title element. In APA, you'll format the titles of books, videos, web pages, and journal articles in sentence case. To create sentence case, capitalize only the first word of the title and the subtitle if there is one, and any proper words. For this film, The Incredibles, the first word is capitalized because it's the first word of the title. And the family name is capitalized because it's a proper word. Then I have followed the title with film in brackets to finish the title element of the entry. So then after the title element, you will include the publisher element. In APA, publishers are the final element in a reference list entry. Again, unless you need to include a URL depending on how you accessed the film or video. When a source has two publishers, this film has two production companies, then they should be listed in the order shown on the source with a semicolon between them. So for example, this is, I've cited this from a DVD that I own, and on that DVD, on the back, in the bottom right corner, I see Disney listed before Pixar. So in this reference list entry, I have included Disney before Pixar and placed a semicolon between them according to APA standards. So as I noted, for film and video references, the publisher is the production company, or in this case, companies. You may need to cite other videos for this course, such as the video on family life cycles. The example on this slide shows proper formatting for citing a webinar or other video provided by the instructor. You'll begin with the instructor's name, followed by the date. Next, include the title of the video and webinar in brackets. You'll see that just as we did with The Incredibles and I explained sentence case, this title is in sentence case. It is only the first word is capitalized because there are no proper words and there is not a subtitle. So you'll follow that title element with the specific name of ACU's Learning Management System, Canvas at ACU. That will be followed by a period, and then you'll include the URL of the login for this system, which I have done here. You'll also need to cite your textbook throughout this course. So I have provided a slide here with an example of citing one of the textbooks that are required for the course. When citing the textbook, you'll include both authors at the beginning. You'll follow their names with the date in parentheses as usual, and a period. Then a textbook's title is also in sentence case. So again, in the example of this title, the first word alone is capitalized because there is not a subtitle and there are no proper words. Finally, you'll include the publisher at the end of the reference list entry. When citing the publisher at the end of the entry, APA does not require including designations of business structures such as incorporated. So it's not included in this entry. So you'll see, for example, on the title page or the copyright page of this source, you'll see incorporated for this particular publisher. And on your syllabus, you'll see incorporated abbreviated for this particular publisher. However, you do not have to include that abbreviation when you are citing the textbook on your references page. So for this webinar, we looked at The Incredibles, and I had a few fun images of clip art, and I actually gathered those from official Disney clips in case you're interested, and I have cited them here for your reference. So thank you for joining me for this webinar on analyzing parenthood. If you would like to find out more about the Online Writing Center, you can check out the Online Writing Center group and my ACU at this link. You can watch the video that is linked here for the steps to make an appointment and submit a paper. Our tutors at the Online Writing Center work with you at any stage of your writing, so you can be drafting, you can be brainstorming, you can be revising, you can be working on citations. We will work with you at any stage. There are two types of appointments listed on the Online Writing Center schedule. You can choose an email or asynchronous appointment in which you upload the paper and we send you feedback by email within 24 hours, which you'll see in a Writing Center report. You can also schedule Zoom appointments with some tutors. For these, go to the schedule and click on the Zoom link at your appointment time, and all of those appointments are listed in Central Time. Also at the Online Writing Center, we offer many writing-related resources on our website, and you can follow this link at the bottom of the page to find those resources. So here is the process for scheduling an appointment, submitting a paper. You'll first schedule the appointment at WC Online, and then you will upload the paper to the appointment form. If you would like to contact us, you can ask a question. For example, for any of our tutors to answer over email, you would use Online Writing Center at ACU. You can use this link in the middle of this slide to schedule an appointment. And you can also contact us through the Online Writing Center website, which is linked at the bottom of this slide. Some valuable resources you may like to consult as well include the APA course paper template that the Online Writing Center has created. You can find these templates at the first bullet on this slide. You can also check out our YouTube channel, where we have many helpful videos that you can consult regarding many different topics related to the writing process. So this middle bullet, you can click that link to explore our YouTube channel. And then in addition, the Online Writing Center has a blog, and you're welcome to visit it. It also addresses many topics related to the writing process, and I'm sure you'll find it useful at this link in the last bullet on this slide. Additionally, you may be interested in some of the other webinars that are coming up soon. This Tuesday, August 20th, 2024, from 6 to 7 Central Time, we will be offering the Intro to APA 7th Edition webinar. And then the following Tuesday, August 27th, 2024, from 6 to 7 Central, we have a webinar called Beyond Summary, Adding Analysis and Synthesis to Your Writing, which is really helpful for a number of different types of assignments. But you can also just go to our website at this link here on the left of the slide to explore all of our webinar recordings. And you'll find many that are related to different courses, for example, that you may take at ACU. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel to view past webinars. So thank you again for joining me today at the Online Writing Center and for this webinar on the Parenthood analysis.